I media trained you.
No, you didn't.
That's controversial.
It's controversial of kids. Oh, I need a
Really good.
Okay,
It's been a good one. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Mwah, 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 mwah. Oh my. Delete everything. Delete everything. Everything goes. Everything.
He was basically flaunting one of the most egregious crimes imaginable for hundreds of people to see, all while being world famous.
David, we already knew he did it. Of course he did it. Welcome to part number 4080 of Some Niggas Need Jail.
That breaking news at 6. Singer Da4vd has been arrested in connection with the murder of 14-year-old Celeste Rivas.
Crazy.
Good evening once again, everyone. I'm Colleen Williams.
And I'm Michael Brownlee. NBC4 Investigates first broke this story back in September when the teenager's decomposed body was found in the front truck of a Tesla registered to Da4vd. The car was impounded at a tow yard in Los Angeles after someone reported it abandoned in the Hollywood Hills.
We have live team coverage on this breaking news story. Amber Frias outside the family's home. But we're going to begin right now with investigative reporter Eric Leonard, who is live in the newsroom with the latest. Eric.
And I don't know if they're going to get into this or not, but like the young girl's family, she was like considered somewhat of a runaway for a minute. And her family had some measure of knowledge, allegedly, that she was involved with this adult man. And I guess they had got estranged from one another during the period that was, went downhill to whatever this happens to be now. And now he's being arrested for it. Look, I thought this would have happened quite some time ago, but, I guess they were getting their ducks in order.
Yeah, robbery homicide detectives from the LAPD, as we know, have been working this case for months, focused on whether they could find sufficient evidence that Celeste Rivas had been murdered and whether they could prove who was responsible. The arrest today puts Da4vd, whose legal name is David Burke, in custody on suspicion of murder. The LAPD says he'll be held with no bail.
I'm telling you, them demonic spirits. You see people wearing them, different outfits and all that stuff. You see what he had on. Y'all saw what he had on. Where the picture at?
Is David Burke in custody?
It's a lot of them, what I'm saying. It's a lot of X-Men that do stuff.
On suspicion of murder. The LAPD says he'll be held with no bail, expected in court Monday. Our law enforcement contacts told us back in November Da4vd was considered the suspect in the case, and investigators also believed it was possible another person had taken part in the murder. Detectives tell us they believe Rivas was killed in the spring of 2025 when she would have been 14 years old. Her remains were discovered inside 2 cadaver bags in the front trunk of that Tesla sedan registered to Da4vd that was impounded.
Like he had actual body bags. Yo, this dude left so many clues. Like there were songs written that alluded to this. Like fantasies and I mean, there was even a period where they were on live together, like 3 a.m. in the morning. She's with this grown man. Like this. I just feel like there were so many red flags prior to this happening. We still don't know the actual cause of death or any of those things, but like the writing was just all on the wall for this. I'm surprised it took this long. That's all I can say.
From the Hollywood Hills last September, the LA County Coroner's Office had said the cause of her death was a mystery, no doubt complicated by the poor conditions of her remains. The coroner removed the case
because they had been in the sun, in the LA sun, the whole summer or something like that.
Information on her death from public view at the request of the police while the investigation had been ongoing. Now, Da4vd has been out of sight for the last few months. The last we heard, he was staying with his family in Texas. And you'll remember his brother and his parents were ordered out to California to testify before a grand jury investigating the case in February. The LAPD tells us tonight the case will be presented to prosecutors for a criminal filing on Monday. We can also tell you that Da4vd was arrested in the Hollywood area without incident today on what detectives called a probable cause arrest warrant, which makes sense. That would be why they would be presenting the evidence in court to prosecute, or presenting the evidence to prosecutors Monday, expecting criminal charges to be filed shortly after.
Now, for the no snitching crowd, what are you supposed to overlook this to? Where are the lines drawn? Everybody that's mad at Gucci. Is this young lady, her people snitches? Is anyone who provided information in this particular instance, are they a snitch? That's what I mean by that. That whole code is ridiculous. Where do you apply it and where do you not?
Back to you guys.
All right, Eric, thank you. And today's arrest comes 2 years after Celeste Rivas disappeared in the Lake Elsinore area. Our live team coverage of this breaking news story.
This lady looked dead, too.
Continues right now with NBC4's Amber Frias. She is live in Lake Elsinore, where the teen's family lives. And Amber, just a couple of minutes ago, you spoke with a neighbor who started a memorial for Celeste. What did she have to say about the developments today?
Candles in. It's too late.
Colleen, she was pretty emotional. She said that she was still shaking from learning the news that David had been arrested. She says she didn't actually know Celeste, but she has a 14-year-old daughter. So this story from the very start just broke her heart. And yes,
it's like you see her every day. You're like, she's like the same age as my kid. That's, yeah, I can understand how someone could feel that way.
Started this memorial you see behind me. She says she makes sure there's stuffed animals, toys, always here for Celeste. Also some twinkly lights and candles that she says turn on every single night. She doesn't allow this memorial to go dark. She's very attached to this case, and she said she just really hopes that she gets justice because that's what she deserves. Here's more on what she had to say.
I started a memorial for her because she deserves justice, and it's been 220 days since she was found, and when I heard the news today that he was finally arrested, I just got chills.
And again, she tells...
I mean, if it wasn't bad enough him dealing with the youngin', right? That in and of itself deserves severe punishment. And then you couple this onto it. I mean, how her family must feel, but then again, you gotta ask, how long were they going to allow their 14-year-old to be out there? I understand that's a turbulent period in a young person's life. That's when your hormones are raging and you think you're an adult. And she probably was rebelling from home, and it was probably difficult to track her down. But at some point, it has to become a mission of yours, particularly if you had any inkling of where she was. And from my understanding, there was limited but some knowledge that she may be dealing with this dude, David. There were people that knew him that knew that she should probably be home. Allegedly, I guess you gotta say.
That she came out here to set up this memorial right when Celeste was reported missing. She takes care of it every day. She makes sure there's always something here in memory of Celeste, and she... As you can see, there's a lot of stuff here. There's a lot of flowers, a lot of stuffed animals. We have photos of Celeste. So definitely she's keeping her memory alive here in the neighborhood where she lived. Now, her family lives just a few feet away from this memorial. We tried knocking on their door to see if we could speak with them about this, but it doesn't appear that they're home at this time. For now, reporting live from Lake Elsinore, Amber Frias, NBC4 News.
Amber, thank you. Our coverage of David's arrest continues tonight at 7 and on our website, NBCLA.com. In fact, it's the trending story on our homepage. You can find a timeline of the investigation under crime and courts.
Protect your babies, y'all. That's all I got to say. Next story. My check